Welcome to the MOOCs course Community Engagement and Social Responsibility. Today we will discuss Unit 2 entitled Community Engagement in Entrepreneurship. This whole unit is divided into two modules. We will discuss Module 1 focused on participatory rural appraisal, Jugaad and self-help groups. In the third part of Module 1 of Unit 2, we will study the participatory rural appraisal techniques, its benefits and rural development programs. In the previous part, we discussed about the participatory rural appraisal techniques and its components. Now, what are the techniques we are going to use for this participatory rural appraisal? So there are basically two main strategies. One is direct observation and do it yourself. Either we can observe villagers, what type of data they are collecting, or we can do it by ourselves. So direct observation is associated with the following questions. Who are going to do these direct observation? What type of observations they are doing and when they are going to conduct these observations? Where they are doing these observations and what is the need of doing these observations and in what way they are conducting these. So all of these questions comprises of these direct observations. So villagers are urged to contact volunteers, learn how to undertake various things and do it yourself. So all in these things the villagers are involved from starting and now they are doing these techniques, they are following these techniques for their development. Participatory rural appraisal have some benefits. First benefit is empowerment of the local people. By using this technique, the people can be empowered. The second is the active involvement of the villagers in this study, diversification and appreciation of local knowledge. So in this we are going to learn the outsider. If I am act as an outsider, if I am going to any village, so that villager have a tremendous knowledge about that area. So he will tell me about that area and the knowledge we are getting from that person is going to help in the development of that area, creating a culture of open learning with each other community members. So we can have an open discussion forum there. So here the outsiders and the villagers can interact with each other. They can share their knowledge. They can share the perspective of them about any problem, what they think, and setting research priorities. What we have to done in the primary basis and what we have to do in the secondary basis. So this will also come under the benefits. If we have the data and we analyze the data, we should know what type of problems we have to tackle first and what type of problems will be given a secondary point. For successful implementation of any participatory rural appraisal, we have to just checklist or we have to just find out the various livelihood check programs, like if we are going to monitor the air control, the air pollution, we are going to monitor the water bodies, we have to check the environmental checklist. So we have to prepare some checklists or we have to make some questionnaire and we have to give to these rural villages that checklist, and now we are going to all check the parameters. So the second one is gender analysis, third is market analysis, fourth thing we can do is risk assessment. These are all the examples. So these checklists can be made on the behalf of what type of problems we are going to tackle. It is not mandatory that we have to go all these through. We have to make sure what type of development we are going to have in that rural area, and for that what type of checklist we have to make. Like strategic environmental assessment, if we are going to monitor the environmental problems, individual and household case studies. So all of these things can be studied. So for a rural development program, now we have studied this participatory rural appraisal. In this we have just studied what type of things we can do or how we are going to collect data. So now how we are going to do this rural development program. So this rural development program is an extension work which takes place within a process of development and cannot be considered as an isolated activity. Extension programs and projects, extension agents, these are all part of the development of the rural society. We are not going to implement any outsourced thing on the rural village. We have to just find out what type of the resources they have and how we can modify them and how we can develop them in that geographical area. The term development does not refer to one single phenomenon or activity, nor it does a general process of social change. The development should be done in all manners. It doesn't mean that we are going to focus on any single problem, because development can be done from all type of things. We have to think about the education, we have to think about the water bodies of the rural areas, we have to also think about the nutrition of the children, the women empowerment. All of these things should be done in a proper manner to see a change in a rural area. So for a rural development, there are some principles. The principles are basically six principles are there. Rural development techniques involve implementing initiatives in a specific rural region with government assistance in terms of knowledge and financial resources. As we all know, for any development program, what we need? We need some money. But before needing any money, or before planning, or before acting in any development program, we should have some knowledge which we can collect from these PRA techniques which we have studied or which we have discussed earlier in this lecture. So in this, we are going to first, if we have some data, now we have to analyze that data, we have to prioritize our problems and what type of things we can do to get rid of these problems. So the knowledge, the outsider should have the knowledge, or it should, or they implement them. Then we will come to the financial resources which can be provided with the government assistance or by some non-governmental organizations or any of these. So these are the following some potential implementation concepts for rural development programs. First is access. So what type of development program we are doing? It should be accessible to the all peoples. So we have to try to ensure that the programs and its benefits can reach those in need. The second thing is independence. So we have to devise a program that helps and supports the farmer, but which does not make him or his livelihood depends on these programs. We should have to encourage that farmer. If we are taking an example of a farmer that he has some agricultural land, so we have to give him some ideas of how he can improvise or how he can develop their agricultural field. We should not force them to just depend on these programs. The third is sustainability. Ensure that the program which we are planning and the solutions which we are giving should be economical, social and administrative. We should give some examples which can be used by these farmers in the present situation and also in the future by their generation. So the program we are planning, it should be sustainable. The fourth is going forwardness. So the technological aspects of rural development program should help the farmer to take the next step in his development and not demand that he take a huge technological leap, because as we all know that the villages are just connected to the root levels, they do not know more about the technological intervention. So we should devise any technology, or we should provide them any technology which they can use easily, or if they have to shift from one technology to another, they can develop or they can move from this technology to the another technology without taking any huge leap. Then the fifth point is participation. Always try to consult the local people, because we are doing or we are planning these programs for the rural people, so we have to talk with them. It is not like that we are going to a rural village and they have some agricultural farmlands. They basically depend on agricultural fields for their livelihood, and we are planning some another development program which they don't know. So we have to first interact, or we have to serve participation, actively participation of these things, and the farmers or the villagers, ki what type of things they want to do. So always try to consult the local people, seek out their ideas and involve them as much as possible to make them comfortable for that program. The last principle of rural development is effectiveness. A program should be based on the effective use of local resources. So in this we have to, if we are going to impose or if we are going to give them a plan for the rural development, we should involve the local resources for that. It should not a type of development program for where they have to purchase anything from the other resources. so they can use their local resources for that development program in a very efficient manner. While efficiency is important, its requirements are often unrealistic. So these all are about the principles of rural development which we have discussed. I want to repeat it one more time. The first principle is access, the second is independent, the sustainability, going forwardness, participation and the effectiveness. So, in this part, we discussed the participatory rural appraisal techniques, its benefits, and the various rural development programs. The next part will focus on common property resources like fish farming, water scarcity, and contamination. Thank you.